$250 million Sandmann lawsuit against Washington Post dismissed by federal judge. What a disappointment. I saw this earlier and I thought, oh shit, really? But it's not surprising. We can't be surprised. You know, the judicial system is corrupt. It's here. You see the same thing here in the UK with Tommy Robinson put into prison for what? For is it 66 days for doing what? For reporting on something that was horrendous, heinous, and they throw him into prison. Didn't harm anybody. Didn't beat anybody up. No. You can beat somebody up today in prison. You can get off with community service. But something like what he did was just a report. And they've literally thrown him to prison so that he serves time. I mean, I hope that Robinson says, you know what, I've just stuffed this country and go to, I don't know where you go, Australia, New Zealand. I mean, these countries are getting bad. I suppose the only place he could probably look at going to is America. But look at this nonsense here. The $250 million lawsuit filed by Nick Sandmann against the Washington Post has been dismissed by a federal judge. U.S. District Judge, Mr. William Bartlesman, who heard oral arguments earlier this month, issued the ruling on Friday in the case that garnered national attention. Nick became embroiled in a decisive response to an encounter between him, his classmates, Native American Indians, and those wankers, the so-called Hebrew Israelites, who caused and started this whole thing off. Have they been brought to court? Are they being made to face justice? We don't know. Well, I don't know. I've not heard anything. But they're the ones, these bastards started it off to begin with. The Washington Post, in a statement, said it was pleased by the dismissal. Of course it is. You've got the judge in your back pocket. From our first story on this incident to our last, we sought to report fairly and accurately. Yeah. They sought to report fairly and accurately fake news. The facts that could be established from available evidence. The perspectives of all of the participants and the comments of the responsible church and school officials. The Sandmann family plans to appeal the judge's ruling, according to a statement sent to the Inquirer by Nick's attorneys. The January encounter led to threats lobbed at Nick. Everybody knows all the nasty things that were said about him and his classmates, who would later appear on national TV to say he felt he'd done nothing wrong. Absolutely correct. I believe fighting for justice for my son and family is of vital national importance, said Nick's father, Ted Sandmann, in a statement. Absolutely correct. If what was done to Nick is not legally actionable, then no one is safe. But David Marburger, a Cleveland-based attorney who spent decades representing various media outlets, agreed with the ruling. Of course you do. Again, you're all in each other's back pockets. Of course you're going to support a corrupt system. Agreed with the ruling, saying he questioned the validity of Nick's claim from the outset. As a liable lawyer, I thought his claims were quite weak, Marburger said. So it's renewed confidence in the judiciary that the judge would dismiss this case by applying the settled law to the allegedly libelous publication and rule in favor of the press. Exactly. Rule always in favor of the press, regardless of whether they do anything wrong or just quite frankly, plainly unprofessional. Nick and his attorneys had alleged that the gist of the Washington Post's first article conveyed that Nick had assaulted or physically intimidated Mr. Phillips and engaged in racist conduct, which he didn't. None of those things are true. The judge ruled such claims were not supported by the plain language in the article, which states none of these things. The judge accepted Nick's assertion that he was only standing motionless across from Phillips without ill intent, but the East District of Kentucky judge ruled that Phillips, who told the media he felt threatened after walking up through the crowd of these young boys, beating his bloody little drummer boy drum, and walking through the crowd who parted for him. What was the question has to be? What was he doing there? Why did he feel he was threatened? Nobody was threatening him. He decided to take his walking sticks and walk through those crowd of young boys who were respectful of him, who parted. They didn't threaten him at all. Complete nonsense. This is stupid. He told the media he felt threatened and had a First Amendment right to express his opinion. I mean, he went into the crowd. He put himself in that situation. Okay, yeah. If he did feel threatened, he put himself in that situation. What did he feel? What threat did he actually feel from these boys? Okay, what threat did he actually feel from these boys after walking up to them and walking through the crowd of boys who parted for him to walk through at will, anyhow he wanted? And because a young man stood in defiance or in respect of this dumbass Phillips, who the boy wasn't going to move. There was no reason for him to move. Phillips is a big old git. This is a 15-year-old boy. He's 65. Phillips should know better. This young boy wasn't doing anything wrong. But because Phillips is an American Indian, probably half American Indian, does that mean that he should be able to walk what about walking to Judge Hall Bank? What about just walking into the White House? These lands are open. There is no borders. Anyone can walk anywhere. That was 500 years ago. Okay? Things have changed. You have to accept the situation and the position you're in. It is what it is. We can have sympathy for what went on to his people. Of course we do. But what are we supposed to do? Tear down the whole system, brick by brick? The world is becoming and will become a smaller place from the point of view of the way humanity lives on this planet. Okay. It was inevitable that more and more people were going to, and have done, move around this world from other parts of the world and claim lands that other people are already on. It's done. It's happened. Okay. It can no longer happen again because everybody has their settled places. Russia has its borders and its settled country. Africa now is going through a small transition. When I say small, it will get larger, bigger, to where hopefully the whole continent will one day be like Shanghai. But these things take time. Everything in life takes time. But I feel Phillips, by this boy standing there and not moving and not parting the way for him, saw him as defying him as a Native American, and that was their land, and that they should be able to walk anywhere, and you should part for him because you're extremely special. Special snowflake. There was a guy I saw, he rode into town with some cowboys who were going to Washington. I think it's Cowboys for Washington or something. And there was an American Indian guy in his full setup, and he was just gushing with praise for America. He said, "Look, this is America. It is what it is. This is where we live. We have to make the best of what we have now. The past is the past. We've all got to move forward. Okay, we've all got to move forward." And the African Americans do have land. I think that they administer and run themselves at the moment, the reservations that they still have. And they should be fully 1000% respected by the American government, and cannot and should not touch any of those without the express permission of those people there. But anyway, I'm waffling on, I understand. Let me carry on. Phillips, concluded that he was being blocked. Exactly. Because Sandmann didn't move out the way from him, he was being blocked. Even though he could have walked, beside him on either side, he wanted Sandmann to part the way for him so that he could carry on walking up the steps. He was in his way. Even though he could have gone either side, he's an American Indian, therefore he has the right to do anything in America, perhaps walking to one of the stores in New York and take whatever he wants, some clothing, some Xbox. And then if he gets stopped and said, "What are you doing?" I'm an American Indian. I have a right to take this stuff because this was taken from our people. So we now have the right to take whatever we want. I mean, American Indians already get university degrees for free. Their children can go to university if they have, African American. Sorry, if they've got native Indian blood in them, they can go to, university for free. We should continue. So he was pissed that Sandmann wouldn't move. I'm just trying to see. Oh yeah, so concluded that he was being blocked and not allowed to retreat. What the fuck are you talking about? His people were behind him or near him, so if he wanted to retreat, he could have easily walked back out from the way he came. It's complete nonsense. The lies that these bastards will tell. These people have no fucking moral fiber. They are evil, lying bastards, man. The judge wrote, he passed these conclusions he passed these conclusions onto the post. That's Mr. Phillips passed this onto the post. They may have been erroneous, but as discussed above, they are opinion protected by the First Amendment. So the First Amendment, from what I read there, says you're allowed to lie under the First Amendment, and you'll be protected. Or maybe I'm wrong. In an earlier motion, the Post wrote that Phillips was entitled to offer his subjective point of view, and the Post had a right to report it, and so on and so on. So basically, they're going to have to do an appeal, and there's so much more here to read. I don't want to bore everybody with it, but there are apparently Nick has also sued CNN, great, brilliant, NBC. Before Friday's dismissal, he was seeking more than $750 of $1 billion against the three media companies. The case against CNN and NBC remains pending as of Friday afternoon. So apparently, Nick, could face challenges in proving defamation, as experts say. Editorial: can we learn from the incident in Washington? It says we must. The school that basically threw these young, honest young men under the bus. Longer video shows start of the incident at Indigenous Peoples March. So there you have it. He's lost his first round. So hopefully he can appeal, and they'll. But it doesn't look good, does it? It doesn't look good. But let's see what happens. Maybe we'll get some other judges who will have a bit more common sense and see what exactly went wrong. But it is disappointing. I was hoping that but nothing in life, as everybody knows, is easy, and there is always these little bumps in the road. So let them take this, take it to appeal, and let's cross our fingers that they're successful the next time. So, as they say, you've got to risk it to get the biscuit, and they've risked it, and they haven't quite got the biscuit. Anyway, I'm out. Thanks for listening.